another very exciting episode of the Media Boat
So exciting.
Podcast, your weekly rundown where we talk movies, TV, music, and video games, but not necessarily in that order. My name is Mike. His name is Matt.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. I can't feel half my face. Don't worry. It's
Okay,
not
the
the
weekend.
weekend. Yeah, it's not the weekend situation. I went to the dentist. But yeah, this is episode 536. This is April the 30th. Guess what, folks?
Wait,
It's
can you say
gonna
that
be
episode
May.
again?
What?
Can you say that episode again?
536. I told you. I warned you, okay?
I know
You
you
said I
did.
sounded fine.
You do sound fine, but you are right. Justin Timberlake is creeping right
Hmm.
around the corner.
Gonna be May
Yep.
tomorrow. We're hours away. hou- Hours away from it being May. All
Yes,
right.
but before we get into
Mm-hmm.
the month of May
Yeah, why don't
and
you do some
unleash Justin
talking for a
Timberlake
while?
onto the
Yeah.
world, let's start with podcast with the music section. Start the
Yeah.
music section with the Billboard. Start the Billboard with the Hot 100. And the hottest song in the land is Not Choosing Texas by Ella
No.
Langley. That dropped to number 2 this week because creeping in and saying, hey, I'm here. Don't forget about me. It's Drop Dead by Olivia Rodrigo. At number 3, though, is I Just Might by Bruno Mars. At 4, Man, I Need by Olivia Dean. And rounding out your top 5, Be Hurt by Ella Langley.
Since she won't come up again, this is our chance to mention the backup news story that I had for the music section today. Olivia did announce a tour, a world tour called the Unraveled Tour. Dates are on the internet if you want to see them. I'm not going to pull them up right now for you. I can't do
Yeah,
all the work for you. Okay. Um,
yeah.
but yes,
Also, not to be outdone, Casey Buskers also announced her tour.
yes.
Although I'm not sure where it is because it's the middle of nowhere tour.
Yeah, it's gonna be like one of those secret raves where you're gonna have to go down the street to like the liquor store, and there's gonna be a person who's gonna be able to tell you where it is, but they can only tell you, and you can't share it on social media.
And that's how you wind up in a sewing factory.
Can you tell that we've been there before? Anyway,
Hey, we were fun. We used to be fun.
hey, that was a long time ago.
All right.
Now
As
the only
for
drugs
your
I do are injected in me by dentists.
uh, now the yes, thank you. Now onto the albums chart. Your Billboard 200. At number 1 is Dandelion by Ella Langley. At 2, The Problem himself, Morgan Wallen. Coming in at 3, Seventh Year, A Moment of Stillness in the Toms
The
by
thorns.
Tomorrow X Together.
In the thorns. That's an R and an N next to each other.
No, it's the Thoms.
I typed it. It's thorns on my screen. Maybe your monitor needs help.
I don't know. I For some reason I'm getting playback there. It thinks I
Anyway,
want to listen to Dandelion. We're not sponsored by Dandelion.
whoops.
But yeah, that's by Tomorrow X Together. Cross Together. At 4, Era Ring by BTS. And rounding out our top 5, we get that Coachella bump, Swag by Justin
Yes.
Bieber.
Yes, indeed.
If you like any of those albums, we have new releases, starting with American Football, LP4, by American Football.
All of their albums are just named American Football. They're all self-titled. So it's kind of a Weezer thing where you have to come up with like another name to identify them. So in this case, people just number them. So this is American Football, the fourth.
As compared to, the third, the second.
Right.
So I call this the fourth down then. So the third down, the second down, the first down.
I
Because you can
mean,
only do
I
four because you don't get a fifth down.
you
You
tell
do get a
you
fifth
tell
down.
them. You tell them. I don't know. I don't know them.
We also have I'm People by Hiss Golden Messenger. Long Wave Home by Jessica Hoop. Theft World by Lip Critic. Maitreya Corso by Maya Hawke. Yes, that Maya Hawke.
Yeah, daughter of Ethan.
Sweat by Melanie C. Not to be confused with Mel B.
Yeah, that confused me for a second when I typed that. I was like, wait, no. And then I moved on.
We also have Sound of a Woman by Rita Wilson. Yes, that Rita Wilson.
So I'm actually not sure. That sounds like a name that could also be someone else's name. I have no idea.
Very could be.
I honestly do
May
not know if
not
this
be
is
that
Tom
Rita
Hanks's.
Wilson.
This might not be Tom Hanks's wife. I in fact maybe would doubt it, but I don't know. We'll see.
We also have Peaches, and with an exclamation point by the Black Keys, and not by Jack Black.
Oh, see, I was thinking the first thing I thought of with this was like, oh, is this a cover of the Presidents of the United States of America song? Millions of peaches, peaches for free. Come
Oh
on.
no, see, I
Nothing?
went with the more recent reference in Super Mario Brothers
Yeah, I guess so. You know
because
what
I
I'm
am
talking
up.
about though, right?
Yes,
Right, the
yes.
band,
Me of a
The
certain age
Presidents
know
of the
what you're
United States of
talking
America.
about,
Yeah, the
but
song
the
there's
more recency
the song
reference
by
we're
them
making here,
that's not the other song, Lump.
womp. We also have the Great Parrot Ox and the Golden Egg of Symphony by the Claypool Lennon Delirium.
I'm not gonna do the work for you at home. You can probably figure out who's involved in this by combining the names and figuring out who made this.
We also have The Charmer by Toadies. In Times of Dragons by Tori Amos. Yes, that Tori Amos.
Yeah.
Hoopla!
It's also what I thought of.
By Weird Nightmare. If you're wondering what that album sounds like, it's a bunch of hoopla. We also have Victory Garden by Young the Giant.
Yeah, isn't that a name you haven't heard in a while? That blew
Yes,
me away. I was like,
that
wow,
Young the
Young the
Giant.
Giant. Okay, all right.
And lastly, your big release of the week and the album
Yes.
we will not be talking about on this podcast,
No.
but rather next episode, because it's not officially out yet. Middle
Yeah.
of Nowhere by Casey Musgraves.
Yeah, we'll talk about Middle of Nowhere next week. I am very curious. It seems like a little bit of a return to more of a country sound.
Mhm.
It has some of the people who worked on her first and second records, which is interesting because that also makes me think it's a little bit of an older sound for Casey. So I'm curious. She's got me. So we'll see.
Yep.
But anyway,
Anyways, I'll talk about Casey Musgraves in a little bit.
thanks. Yeah.
But first, music news.
Yes.
And we're going to go to the world of Wicked. Or at least that's where most people last saw Ariana Grande,
It's true.
unless you saw her in the new trailer for Fokker in Law.
Right.
Because Ariana Grande, in addition to being a movie star, also makes music occasionally
Yeah, turns out.
and has announced the title and release date of her eighth studio album,
Yes.
Petal, which will
Pedal.
be executive produced and co-written by Grande and Ilya, which will be out on July 31st via Republic Records. In the announcement, Grande describes the album as, quote, something that is full of life and growing through the cracks of something cold and hard and challenging, close quote. Ilya is a Swedish Persian producer who worked extensively with hitmaker Max Martin, co-produced and co-wrote much of Grande's 2024 album, Eternal Sunshine, and has clocked hits with Taylor Swift and Sam Smith, and more.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is good. Just follows the trend of recently. The month of April happens to be announce your album month.
It does. And it's nice to hear this. There were some questions after the release of her last album, Eternal Sunshine, about when Ariana would get back to making music. Her and Selena Gomez seem to be doing this dance a lot over the last decade, which is Are they going to act full time or are they going to go back into the studio in between? And they both have basically, depending on the time, given different answers to that question. Ari, though, clearly, is ready to record music again. And yeah, this household is sure excited for it. In fact, we might actually get, Christy and I, that is, might get a sneak peek at possibly some of this as we are seeing Ariana Grande in concert. We're going to her tour in June, about mid-June. So this is before the album releases. So yeah, we might be able to see maybe an early single or two,
Wait,
depending on her release
so is
schedule.
she on tour for this album that's not out yet?
So no, officially that is not the case. Officially, this is a Eternal Sunshine tour.
Okay.
Um, but like I
So
said,
she's pulling a Taylor Swift then.
yeah, I would imagine that she could play some stuff off of this as well, some older hits as well. I can't imagine she only plays one record. Um, Also, the timing of this is interesting because the tour basically ends its American run when this album comes out.
And then you go right back on tour with the next one, right?
Yeah,
Right?
probably.
Right?
We'll see.
Or you actually start, you do the promotion cycle to
Yeah,
go everywhere, promote the album, get the Grammy bump, hopefully, maybe.
maybe.
Then
Yeah,
you go on tour. Or you
because yeah,
use
the
it to springboard into performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. Because we know
maybe.
they still need someone.
We'll see. The flip side, of course, is the story, is the actual nuts and bolts of what's happening with the album. This is exciting news. I think it's cool to have Ariana work closely with a female producer. I think Max Martin did do a good job on Eternal Sunshine. It's my personal favorite Ariana Grande record. I really like that thing. And if this has another person who worked closely with Ariana on that record, I'm feeling good about how it's going to turn out. So yeah, this is good news to me, I think, overall.
All right. We shall wait till I guess it's Harry Potter's birthday, end of
Who
summer.
cares?
There are people out there who still care.
Anyway.
Anyways, oh, we have thoughts. Speaking of Casey Musgrave, she graced my personal house at Stagecouch, as
Yes.
well as for other people's houses who were not able to go to Stagecoach.
Yeah, I changed your spelling. You originally just had Stagecoach there, and I'm like, no, it's Coachella and Stagecoach.
Oh, I thought I had Stagecouch. It must have auto-corrected.
Auto corrected, yeah.
But yes, Stagecouch was this past weekend for those of you who did not go. Also, for those of you who did go, you braved the storm. You braved the weather alert.
Sounds like
You
it.
did not get to see Riley Green, which is a positive.
Good, good for you.
But yeah, unfortunately, Riley Green's set was the only one that was canceled due to the winds. It was technically postponed, but then they never put him back up and instead went right into the headlining act on
Hmm.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Which, of course, meant that when they put the advisory warning out, people were rushing out to the buses. And all of a sudden, we're rushing back in 90 minutes later when they lifted the advisory.
Oof, that sounds miserable.
Yes, did not go this year, but watched all the chaos on social media.
I bet you're happy you did not go this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, the headliners weren't that exciting.
Doesn't
Post
sound
Malone
like it.
wasn't that exciting, especially because he was sponsored by both Denim and Bud Light. But he played the hits. It was a safe choice.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm enjoying that both Coachella and Stagecoach do these live streams for all fans to
Yeah.
enjoy. Ads pending, however you want to feel about them. But the fact that I can comfortably listen and enjoy these performances, especially Sabrina Carpenter's at Coachella, because there are a lot of references out there
Yeah,
that
that was
people who
fun.
are in the audience looking at the big jumbo screens
Probably missed
may
a lot.
not see and
Yeah.
understand and miss.
Of course, there's an argument kind of counter to that, right? I'm sure you've heard, where people are arguing, well, now it seems like they're making it mostly for the stream, and it's less exciting to be there in person. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I totally agree with that because, as mentioned, Sabrina Carpenter in her set played directly to the camera
Yeah,
several times.
a lot
And
of
it's
that.
like, don't you got an audience out there?
I mean, yeah, but there's also an audience out there. And so like it's a hard balancing act to do. I also think that maybe there's a misunderstanding about how much a at-home audience expects from a live performance. Like I remember back watching Coachella performances 10, 12 years ago streaming when they first started streaming Coachella. And I was just like, oh, it's just we're shooting the screen. They didn't have people up like sorry, not the screen, the stage. Like they didn't have somebody up there with a handheld camera typically even back then. It was just like static and you liked it and you got what you got. I don't know. Of course, the other conversation,
Old man yells at cloud moment.
right, pretty much. Um, but the other conversation, of course, is had like that was a really all over the place was that like do the female entertainers like Sabrina Carpenter seem to have to do more to entertain us than say Justin Bieber who just sat there and read tweets.
Yeah, it was Justin Bieber's set was very interesting, especially on the online discourse of fans who
Hmm.
got it and understood what he was going for. And there were fans who kind of made up their own headcanon of what he was going for. And then there were fans who just hated what he was doing.
Yeah, I personally think it sounded a little eh, to me, but like I get it, it's not for me, he's not for me in general, but
And sometimes it's not for you, and that's okay.
that's okay.
You don't have to go online and voice your opinion about it.
You don't have to, but you can.
You know, you'd be like us and scream into the void about it.
Something like that.
Hello, void. It's nice for you to talk back.
Hi, Void. All right. The Void should move on.
Yes, let's move on then into video games, where we where we start with new releases. The
Yeah, we
voice
have a
getting in my head
conversation with
there.
the new releases. Yeah.
Yes, yes. The void's talking to me about the new releases. First off, we have Wax Heads for the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, and the Switch.
Yes, I believe
And
this is a record store slash visual novel style game. I remember Christy played the demo a while ago on Steam from one of the Steam Next Fest demos, and
okay.
yeah, that's only what I remember.
All right. Well, you may be interested in this next game, Mixtape, on the PC, PS5,
Speaking of.
Xbox Series X, and the Switch 2.
Yeah, speaking of music related games, this one's been teased for a little bit now. It looks to take a few pages from Life is Strange and other kind of visual novels style games. It also brings to mind your recent experience with what was that game called? Lost Tapes? Not
Lost
Lost Tapes.
Records,
Lost
Raging Bloom.
Records. Lost Records. But this seems to be more mini game based,
Hmm.
which is an interesting twist on that idea. So hey, maybe it's cool.
Maybe you'll just have to check it out.
Check it out.
All right, let's get to our video game news. We're going over to the world of PlayStation, where if you happen to have a PS5, you got an update.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's up with that update?
yes, new version 13.20 update for the PS5 consoles appears to have brought with it a form of digital rights management, aka DRM,
Hmm.
in which digitally purchased games have to be verified. This, of course, follows days of speculation and theorizing that Sony had finally released a statement about the 30-day timers on new digital game purchases for the PS4 and the PS5. The theory, tested by numerous YouTube channels, was that any digital game purchased on or after a certain date appeared to have a 30-day timer applied, suggesting that if the player didn't play the game for 30 days, they would have to connect their console online to renew the license and reset the timer to 30 days again. When players started reporting their timers disappearing, a new theory emerged that the 30-day timer was only a temporary one to avoid pirates are using a refund exploit, and that the license would become permanent after 14 days.
Hmm.
Now, To clear all that dust, Sony has officially confirmed that players don't have to verify the games every 30 days, and that initial timer is indeed a one-off check.
Yes. So yeah, I think people started freaking out because I think that a lot of fans in this industry have PTSD from the Xbox One announcement.
Mhm.
You may remember that. If you don't, if you're listening to this podcast and you missed that back in 20, oh God, 13,
We were
2012.
doing this in 2013.
No, we weren't. But I mean, if you weren't in tune with video game news back then,
Yes.
there was a little bit of a threat as we kind of entered this all digital landscape, that Microsoft was going to require the Xbox basically to phone home to a server and double check to see if you had rights to a game, which at the time was controversial because the idea was that a lot of people didn't have broadband internet in other countries of the world that maybe were less developed, or maybe you just want to be able to play a game offline sometimes and not have that constant need to ping to the internet. And so people were kind of upset about it. They ended up reversing course. That didn't end up happening. But this DRM idea of a timer elapsing scared a lot of people and made them think about that again. It's like, oh, am I not going to be able to play digital games on my PlayStation 5 offline for more than 30 days? So yeah, PlayStation was right about getting out of or not getting out ahead of this, but instead coming out behind it and just confirming that it's not actually that. This was just something that they probably had to do for, as the story mentions, piracy reasons, and thus nothing to see here, folks.
I mean, it is something to see here, and that is that, as we always hype on the Media Bill podcast, you won't have this problem if you have a physical media.
I mean, yeah,
But even
but
then, you may have this problem if your
right.
physical media is just a key activation code.
Well, also, you might have this problem if you're playing a game that's meant to be online. This is the
Mhm.
thing. This is why this conversation kind of went away after the Xbox One, because what happened after the Xbox One? Free to play games like Fortnite and Roblox that basically made things that are always online and the only thing you do is online very normal and kind of Trojan horsed the industry into making all games that. So now your single player non online experiences are very, very rare. And with those single player experiences from the last decade, even those connect to the internet, say for constant updates, balancing, patches, maybe even new areas to explore in your single player game. It's no longer a weird thing as much as it used to be to ask somebody to have their console online all the time.
I remember way back in the day when getting Wi-Fi was the new hotness and also the
Yeah.
end of the world.
I mean, it's the same people who now think they have to wear special clothes if 5G signals are nearby. It's like there's always been like people suspicious of the technology for sure.
I mean, is it suspicious if you're right?
I,
I'm not saying they're right. I'm just saying if.
this is not a conspiracy podcast, as much as you'd like to with your tinfoil
Oh,
hats.
I love my tinfoil hats. Well, I gotta get mine resized.
Yeah, it
Yes.
happens every once
Yeah,
in
I
a
gotta
while.
fit new theories in there. All right.
All right, let's move on.
Well, let's move on then into some thoughts because while I've been playing more Pragmata,
Yes,
you have decided to join. Not me, but Tomodachi.
yes,
So
I
tell me,
have.
are you actually living the dream?
Well, I mean, it depends on your definition. I now live on an island with Christy, but also with
Yes, I know
such
it's called
lum
Long Beach,
yes.
and you're
Ha
so
ha
far
ha.
away from all of us.
Ha ha ha. No, I also happen to live with such luminaries as Ariana Grande, Joe Adele, outfielder for the Los Angeles Angels, um, the fictional character Marty Mauser from the film Marty Supreme,
We talked enough about him last episode.
actress Julianne Moore, and, of course, Taylor Swift.
Of course.
And many more to come, I'm sure, as we continue to decide who's going to move in. But yes, I'm playing Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream. I did not play the game that preceded this, the 3DS Tomodachi Life. So this is a completely new experience to me. I remember watching people play that back then and thinking that it was a neat concept to be able to put real life or fictional characters and interact with you or your friends in real life and have that be the game. Basically, you're just watching these things happen, and there's crazy cutscenes and Nintendo humor throughout, and it just seems like a fun time. And I am happy to report that yes, this has delivered on all of those things. um, it's just a zany good time. If you're looking for a very deep video game, however, you might be a little disappointed. This is very much more of a toy. You could even call it like a virtual dollhouse in the way that it actually functions. It's, say, for example, not as involved as The Sims, but it has elements of The Sims, and I think that that's kind of where you should kind of look at this. It's kind of like Diet Sims or like The Sims like. You don't have to worry about when your characters need to go to the bathroom, for example, but you do occasionally have to feed them if they're hungry. They'll let you know. You don't, for example, have to keep them clean, but you can buy clothes for them and they will change into them on as like if they want. But the key here is the relationships. You kind of, to a certain extent, set it and forget it. If you have enough me's, they're just going to live their lives, walk around town, and they're going to meet each other. They might want to become friends. They might want to become more than friends if they're two consenting me adults, depending. And they might get married and they might have kids. Even if you don't get married and might have kids, you might say want to move in with a good friend on the island, and they'll ask you. They'll be like, "Hey, is it cool if I move in with so and so?" And then all of a sudden, they have a mansion house and they're living with each other. For example, the me version of me got along so well with Joe Adele. I don't know. He catches everything. So maybe he caught, a friendship bug with me. And so my me version of myself asked me, "Hey, should I ask Joe Adele if he wants to live together?" And so I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And so he said, "Well, what would we talk about what would we do every day? What would we talk about?" And I suggested baseball. And so cut to, this is just like an example of how Tomodachi Life works. Cut to a cutscene where you get to watch fictional Matt and fictional Joe Adele have a conversation about whether they should live with each other, which basically boils down to, hey, what activity would you think we would do all the time if we lived together? Let's both say it on three. One, two, and they both say baseball at the same time. Thus, they decide to live with each other. That's Tomodachi Life. Um, that's the basics. It gets a little bit like there's a little bit more to it after that. There's some customization options. You can create items actually from scratch in the world, which is really cool. And this could be things like food they eat, or this could be a pet that follows them around, or this could be a custom t-shirt that they wear, or you could completely design a house for them to live in. Like if you want somebody to live in a giant can of beans, you can do that in Tomodachi Life. So again, to go back to your initial question, am I living the dream? I mean, kind of. If that all sounds like a fun time, then you are the audience for this game. If that sounds like that's not enough, then you probably aren't. And you probably are better suited just looking at what people are doing in this game. Because there's plenty of video out there, despite Nintendo's reticence to allow you to share it with with your Switch friends. People are still uploading video and screenshots, and you can still see people being really imaginative with this game, like people making a can of beer, and so like they like have their knees drink a can of beer, or like making them say stupid things. Like you can basically plant expressions in your Mii's to talk about with other Mii's. And so, for example, we had a whole conversation with Ariana Grande and Taylor Swift. They became friends because they wanted to talk about booty, because Christy wrote the word booty, Boty, and said, "Here, this is something you can talk about." And so it had, for example, Ariana Grande saying a great sentence. Um, it was something along the lines of like, I love my collection of booty. Do you like small ones or large ones?" Which Taylor responded, Small ones are the best. But
Well, she knows her mix a lot.
an example, in the best example so far I've gotten for how crazy this game, how weird this game is. This is the strangest thing that's happened so far in our game. So I guess at some point, not only Joe Adele and my character got into baseball, Christie's character apparently also likes baseball, and so does the fictional character Marty Mauser. So at one point, we just kind of casually were looking around the island, and the three of them, Marty, Christy, and myself, were discussing baseball. And the little thing at the bottom said, "This is the inaugural meeting of the baseball like fan club." And it was like Marty Mauser like basically giving a speech, and the two of us sitting down. Then out of nowhere, Julianne Moore walks, makes a beeline straight for Christy. Just walks right through the little triangle of us talking about baseball. Sorry, starting to laugh just thinking about it. And she says to Christy, "Did anybody find out about the grapes I hid?" And Christy says something to the effect of, "No," and she just walks away. And then, of course, the baseball fan club has realized that this is the end of their meeting, and so everybody breaks up and walks. So that's Tomodachi Life living the dream.
Well, I can tell you're having fun with it.
It's kind of like a reality TV show we made and that we're watching unfold before us. Oh, also, there's a love triangle between me and Christy and Marty Mauser and Christy. They've both confessed crushes on her, and I'm panicking because I'm like, not that I need to end up with her, but more like, oh shit, because I realized after this happened, oh, I know why this is happening because I don't think Marty or myself actually met any of the other women on the island yet. So I tried to hastily introduce myself to Taylor and Ariana, so that way at least it was the like we could watch the game make a fair like judgment as opposed to just defaulting to the only women on the island that they know. I was like, that's don't like that. So yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds like a lot of work. Sounds like you need to be invested because I can see
Yeah.
myself as a very casual gamer
Yeah.
not either understanding it or just bouncing
It's
off of it. But
you
it
get
sounds, but you get what
yeah,
you put it, like a lot of games,
exactly.
you get out of it what you put into it. And it sounds
That
like you're
is
putting a lot
yes.
of fun
Yes.
ideas into
That is
it.
exactly how I would put it is you get as much fun from this game as you put into it. If you want to make a lot of crazy memes and if you want to make things items for them to use and if you want to put a lot of expressions in there that you think are funny, you will have a blast with this game. But it is reliant on that. You might have people just play the tutorial and bounce right off of it because they're like, "Oh, I don't do pixel art. I'm not going to make stuff." Like, so yeah, I think that you're right.
I'm right. I should have that recorded.
Yeah, it was like isolate that file and then play it like on a soundboard. Oh, the giant bomb guys do that all the time. Anyways,
Anyways, yeah. So have you been playing anything else, or are we good to move on?
that's it.
I
That's
guess it's a
dominated
very
it.
mileage may vary then. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say that it is really good at what it does. It's
Okay.
just open to like what you personally like. If you think that sounds appealing, and if you imagine yourself sitting down and being like, "I'm gonna make the wackiest island," then you will have a blast.
Friends, Cutthroat Island style.
Yeah, more or less.
All right. Well, hopefully you out there will be living the dream too. I think it's on the Switch only, right?
No,
Yeah.
it is a Switch and Switch 2. It's actually
Well,
on both.
yes.
Pocopia was a Switch exclusive, and the upcoming Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is also Switch 2 exclusive. This is something you can still play on the original Switch.
All right. Well then, let's move on into television. We start television with the Sports Corner.
Yeah.
We're here, and even though the Masters is over of golf, golf is not done with their golfers. As brothers, Matt and Alex Fitzpatrick held on to a one-stroke victory in the Zurich Classic team event, which gave younger brother Alex Fitzpatrick, age 27, a PGA Tour card for the first time. What that means is that he automatically qualifies now for PGA events for the next 2 years. He doesn't have to
Hmm.
play in. He doesn't have to be part of the Open. He just automatically is enrolled into PGA events for the next 2 years, including the PGA Players Championship. Very
Cool.
important. People spend years on the lower ranks, on the circuits, on the Corn Ferry Tour, trying to earn those limited PGA Tour cards because there's only about like 80 given out each year. And to not have to work, grind and worry about, do I make the PGA Tour? Do I make the cut for 2 years is great. It's fantastic. And hey, it's Matt Fitzpatrick helping out his little brother.
Aw, cute.
Yep. Um, but in other sports news, we had a mythical conquest this past weekend. And I say mythical conquest, not in like an exaggeration, but in a more accurate term, because the mythical sub 2 hour marathon
Oh,
was accomplished this past weekend, not by one, but by two different people.
wow.
Sebastian Saw of Kenya won the London Marathon in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds. 11 seconds later, Ethiopia's Yamath Kejelka, who was running in his first marathon, also covered the 26.2-mile course in under 2 hours.
Wow.
Note that before this, while the 2 mile marathon sub 2 hour mark was accomplished prior to this, one, it was not done in an official competition, and two, it was accomplished via certain track conditions, certain weather
Mm,
conditions,
hmm.
and certain coaching and exploits. The
Sure.
most recent example being Kipchoge, who ran the sub 2 hour marathon, but he had pacers in front of him, pacers all around him to help keep him to that sub 2 hours.
Okay.
This is the first time it's been done in actual like
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah. Without that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
no one thought this could be done.
Yeah.
No one
No.
thought 2 hours, 26 miles in 2 hours.
Does this
You can't
make
do that.
does this make these people the number one and two fastest people on the planet now? Is that how that
And
works?
long
Or
distance running, yeah.
long distance running? Sure. Yeah.
To put this in perspective, you have to run a 4.5 mile for 26 miles. Sorry, a
That's
four
yeah.
minute,
4
30
minute
second.
mile for 26.
Yes,
Yeah.
4.5 minute mile for 26 miles.
Yeah. I trust me. No one, none of us is doing that at the local 5K. Like,
Consider that in the Olympics, sub 4 minutes is the new standard.
right.
And it took years for even the first sub 4 minute mile until Roger Bannister did it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, the other people started doing it because they knew that they could. So I expect that this mark to now get even
Yeah.
better because there's now like it's no longer mythical. It's
Right.
real. People
Yeah.
can look at this and see not only how they did it,
Hmm.
but like the mindset, the training, what went into the preparation to get that sub 2 minute marathon.
Right.
Meaning,
Yeah.
in the upcoming Olympics, I do have very high hopes for a sub 2 hour marathon.
Yeah. Maybe. And it'll happen here in Los Angeles unless something changes.
And unless you didn't get your tickets, you
Hey, I'm
can't
in
see
drop
it.
two now. I got the email that I'm in drop two, and I'm like, wow, they've
Ooh.
remembered I exist. Awesome.
Awesome.
Anyway,
All right. Speaking of dropping two, NFL
not
had,
even gonna touch that one.
well, you don't have to because the Broncos touched it with a rare code, Mr. Irrelevant. Or at least I'm dubbing it a
Wow.
code, Mr. Irrelevant, because they had both the penultimate and the final pick. So they could have gone either way. So it's just, it's not like another team came and sniped it from you. You sniped it from yourself. So tight end Dalen Bentley was drafted at number 256, and Mr. Irrelevant linebacker Red Murdoch, great football name,
Good
drafted
name.
at 257, both to the Broncos, so they're co Mr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Irrelevance.
Yeah, Red Murdoch sounds like he came off of a football trading card from 1952.
Or he's there to eventually coach linebackers, not play linebacker. But this past week wasn't all sunshines and rainbows, as over in the MLB, things got a dark cloud over them.
Who, yeah, you don't want to be a
As
manager right now.
I mean, you do want to be a manager if your team's winning.
Yeah, you don't want to be a manager for a team that's well under 500 right now. That's what I would say.
Yes, not just like skirting and flirting with
No,
500.
like bad start under 500.
Well, we did talk about all those teams who had bad starts last
Yes.
week, but two teams actually did something about it.
Yeah.
The Red Sox fired manager Alex Cora,
Yeah.
and the Phillies fired manager Rob Thompson.
So people, are going to have the tendency to lump these two together, but I'm going to tell you why they can't be and they shouldn't be. Is one of these makes some sort of sense. The other one is wild and nobody saw it coming because of the tenure and like the talent of the manager. You can kind of guess which one is which.
Oh, do you want me to guess?
I
Because
mean, I'm
Alex Cora's
assuming you
been there
can.
forever.
That's the thing, is that I think that was the one that really shocked people. It sounds like people on the team itself were kind of shocked. You had a lot of comments from players, including Garrett Crochet, who was pretty much immediately being like, "Hey, I'm just as surprised as you are." But he also made a point to say, but also like it shouldn't be the manager's fault. It's us. It's the players. We needed to have played better.
Mhm.
It's not like this isn't the full picture, and he didn't think that, and probably the sentiment that's shared amongst a lot of the players that the manager should have taken the hit for that. But it's tricky, and we see this. It's funny because we see this a lot more in other sports. Like it seems like every NFL season, you talk very quickly about like, okay, this guy, if they don't pick this up because of how short the NFL season is, this manager is going to get fired. It's very rapid fire in that way.
Yep.
No pun intended. Baseball, you don't really see that. The season's longer. The managers are typically there longer. And if they're not, it's mid-season. It's not mid-season that they're being replaced. It's post-season they're being replaced. This is
Yeah.
not something that they usually do because there's all
It's
sorts of
it's also not a month into the season.
no, this never happens. Like I remember when I was watching Ken Burns baseball, one of the things they were talking about why that doesn't happen is because baseball is a very superstitious sport. It
Hmm.
always has been, and that goes into leadership, right? Even if you have like a 10 game skid, for example, the idea is like, well, don't change anything drastically because you're going to regret that. Just hope that the guys get their shit together and the hope you guys can get something going. It can take some sort of weird, defensive play, or it can take one great at bat, or it could take even something strange like a cat coming on the field and to suddenly turn things around. And then all of a sudden you're the Mariners and you have like a record setting winning streak. Like this has happened before, but this is a
Yeah,
weird exception.
it is. And especially because they're not the worst teams in baseball right
No,
now,
they're
per the
not.
record.
No.
The
And
New
so
York Mets,
it's
who we talked about,
yes.
having a 12 game losing streak,
Yeah, they by far have had the worst season and the longest
still have
losing
their
streak.
manager. Yeah, still
And
have their
they
manager intact.
retained their manager. I think, there is there something maybe we don't know behind the scenes in Boston? Is there something that like it just seems strange? And I think as the dust settles on this deal, we're going to think back of it at the end of the season and be like, that was really weird, right? The Phillies less so. I think there needed to be something happening there because the guys were expressing their expression almost like their frustration every day during their own losing streak. And it definitely seemed like there was some tension with management. And so that didn't surprise me as much. Less tenure, less confidence in the management style. So it made a little bit more sense. But still, like you said, a month into the season, both of these are real severe.
I wonder how much of this was they were already on thin ice at the end of the
Hmm.
previous season
Yeah.
and they didn't turn it around. They had like all off season,
Yes.
all preseason to get their shit together.
Right.
And a month in, the GMs didn't like what they were seeing,
Yeah.
thought they could do better,
Yeah.
and let them go.
I mean, that's the story of the Phillies. Is ultimately they had
Mhm.
a really disappointing end of their season last year. They didn't make the playoffs, right? Like barely. When the narrative for the past years before that, the 2 or 3 years before that, was this is a World Series team. This is the best the Phillies have seen in a while. I mean, Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber is just like a murderer's row of hitters. It was like it was supposed to happen for them. Like they had it. And so this being the second season in a row, even early on, where it seems like that magic is gone and like the guys are still there, but they're just not producing. So yeah, you're right. I think this was kind of written in the stars, at least in Philly.
Yep. But like you mentioned, it comes down to do you make the playoffs?
Right.
And we have current playoffs going on for the NBA and the NHL.
Yes.
The reigning NBA champions, Thunder, and the San Antonio Spurs have both advanced uh, to the quarterfinal rounds in the NBA playoffs. And over in the NHL, the Avalanche, Hurricane, and Flyers have advanced out of the opening stages. Real briefly, in the NBA, we know who the Rookie of the Year is. It is indeed Cooper Flag. We still don't know who or when the MVP is going to be announced. Typically, that occurs during the conference championships or leading up into them.
Mm.
Why it takes so long is just to build up tension. But
Yeah.
really, they know because they have to do all the voting already. It's not like these last couple of games are gonna like sway the vote because it's not in the regular season, but people will count it anyways. Da, da, da. And lastly, over in the NBA, there will be a new way to curb uh, tanking,
Oh.
as the bottom three teams with the worst record will no longer be guaranteed one of the top five spots, especially if you've had a pick in the top five spots within the last 3 years. So, what you want to do is be the fourth worst team in the league. And that'll get you better odds of getting that number one pick.
Sure.
Isn't
Why
basketball
not?
funny that way?
Yeah. Hmm.
You don't have to be the
Okay.
worst. You have to be the fourth worst to get the
Fourth
best player.
worst.
Yes. Basically, we're not last mentality.
Exactly. We have a chance.
All right. And that's it for sports.
Okay. I have one little tidbit to add. The Women's Pro Baseball League, which is just a couple of months away from having or 3 months away from having their inaugural season, announced their schedule today. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll just let you know. It will begin on August 1st, with the first game being between the Los Angeles and New York team, and will wrap up in September on September 6th. All these games will be taking place in one stadium in Illinois, Robert Roberts Stadium, as the inaugural season. And it does look like, as of right now, they will be playing just like the women's hockey league did, nameless the first season. They seemed like they had hinted at there was going to be names before the season started. That has not happened. And here's the schedule with no names. So yes, they are just going to be identified by their names in 2026, or by the city names in 26.
So you go to Indiana rooting for a team with no name.
Something like that. Yeah. Anyways, so
Ish.
go WPL Los Angeles, I guess, because that's what we have to call them.
I I guess that's what we have to call them for now. All
Anyways,
right.
Now we can move on into television news. And we start television news, or we do television news. Um, you know, there's
You
not
did that
further
last week
television
too.
news. I don't know, man. This podcast is a blur. With a little bit of update on The White Lotus, one of HBO's biggest hits of the last decade. Oscar winner Laura Dern, a longtime collaborator and friend of series creator Mike White, has joined season 4 of The White Lotus, which will be set in France. She's actually replacing a character who was originally played by Helena Bonham Carter, who mysteriously left the production last week. HBO said at the time of Carter's exit that after filming had gotten underway on the new season the previous week, quote, it had become apparent, unquote, that the character created for by White for Carter, quote, did not align once on set. Carter was at the top of the producer's wish list and the first actor pursued for season 4. Laura Dern will play a new character, which is being developed and written for her by White. This is weird. Yeah, you don't see this often.
No, I mean you do see actors being let go off a project. You see actors where their schedule may either conflict or they just don't get along on set and walk off, which is the big
Mm-hmm,
deal.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
But usually that happens in pre-production
yeah.
and not the first week of principal photography.
It makes you wonder how hot these scripts are coming in.
It also makes you wonder that what was the role originally designed for
Yeah,
Helena Bonham Carter, that either she didn't like the direction it was going once all the scripts were completed. Maybe she didn't like that she was the one getting the boot, as there's
could
always
be.
someone who dies
There's
during
always
that.
somebody who dies. So
Yeah,
yeah, maybe that's the case.
but either way, she is no longer a part of the upcoming White Lotus season. They Mike White has to then rewrite not only her part but her interaction with everyone,
Yeah,
as Laura Dern has probably less than a week to come on set. A lot of these are going to be read as hot lines, and
yeah,
it sounds kind of like a shit show, but I like
yeah.
the White Lotus, and I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen with it, knowing
Well,
production troubles on the back end.
we will certainly find out, won't we?
Unfortunately, we won't find out until probably January of
Yeah,
2027, as this is usually a beginning of the year release.
yeah. All right.
Could it be a Christmas release? We're already in
I mean,
April.
it's possible, but
Possible.
unlikely.
Yeah. Well, it depends on when, because it's on HBO, the Harry Potter comes out.
Yeah, we're not talking about that on here.
No, we already
Let's move
talked about,
on.
we already mentioned one Harry Potter.
We don't have to mention it anymore, though.
All right.
Let's talk about butts. Did you watch anything this week?
Nothing new. Well,
Okay.
okay. I say nothing new. The Secret Millionaire wrapped up.
Hmm.
And just like I said before, everyone knew who the million was the entire time, even when its money switched around. They're very easy to tell who the millionaire was. So either
Hmm.
this cat's character was either really good at figuring it out, or they're really terrible at being a secret millionaire.
Yeah, maybe that part.
It's not one of the better Netflix game shows.
No, I wouldn't think so. All right. Anything else?
Not, I mean, I do watch a lot of TV, but nothing else that wrapped up.
Got it. Okay, let's move on then into cancellations and renewals.
What am I no longer watching?
You will no longer be watching. I don't think you watch the show, but some crazy people on the internet do. You'll be watching the last season of Has Been Hotel soon, as Prime Video has confirmed that season 5 will be its final season.
Mhm.
Next up, Netflix will be bringing back Stranger Things Tales from 85, which is that animated spinoff of Stranger Things, for a second season.
Sure.
Sure. ABC will be bringing back Shifting Gears for a third season and the Scrubs reboot for a second season. So I'm not going to do the math about how many seasons of Scrubs that it makes it. It's the second season of the reboot,
It's either 10 or 11, depending on how you count season 9.
right? If you count ABC season or not. The first ABC season, I should say. Next up, we have deaths. First up, Steve Maslow, age 81. One of the most famous sound mixers on the planet, so famous that most of you probably have at least heard his name at least once. which is not something you could say about a lot of sound mixers. But when you're the sound mixer for The Empire Strikes Back, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Speed, and you won the Oscar all three times, then yeah, you're probably the one sound mixer people can think of.
You're also one of the rare Oscar winners who repeated in their
Hmm.
category back
Yeah.
to back in 81 and 82.
Yeah. I mean, with those movies, how could you not? Right? Like, so yeah. Long lived, well lived life for Steve Maslow. Next up, we have Roger Sweet, age 91, a toy designer from Mattel back in the day. But most notably, he created He-Man in the Masters of the Universe line. This was unfortunate timing, considering that there is right now a multi-million-dollar He-Man movie that
Coming out in
Mattel is
May,
involved
right?
in, coming out this summer. Yeah, so it's bad timing. Roger Sweet won't be able to see the big,
No, it's June
lavish
release.
Hollywood production of his film, his toy. He's only said, I guess he had to settle with the not so great, actually pretty awful Hollywood version of his film that came out a long time ago. But hey, what are you going to do? But age 91, long life, long legacy left behind.
Well, at least he doesn't need to get to see Jared Leto as Skeletor.
Oh boy. Let's move on before that bad taste comes out of my mouth. By the way, speaking of my mouth, I'm like pretty much recovered. I've pretty much the numbness is gone. Maybe I did have to like move my mouth around. Maybe
Oh,
that
if only
helps
you
it.
had some way to talk for a long period of
Yeah, I
time,
know.
moving your
It's
mouth
like
around.
I would recommend maybe like, hey, if you're numb from the dentist, just do a podcast for an hour. It works, turns out. All right. Lastly, in the Media Boat podcast, we have movies. We always start the movie section with the weekend box office, and man, we always have some brutal misses every like a few times a year, and we we have a brutal miss this week.
So I chalk this up to our want of the
Yeah,
box office rather
right.
than to most people's just general disregard for controversy.
I want to believe that people do not care about Michael Jackson that much in 2026, and yet I am proven wrong because Michael was your number one movie this week to $97 million domestic. And if you think that's bad, 240 globally. What are we doing? Anyway, so yeah, you get the point there. You guessed over 36 million. This is well over 36 million.
Yeah, I
Twice.
guess, yeah, the controversies of Michael Jackson in his later life did not sully people's interest in the
Yeah.
biopic.
Of course, it doesn't help that you cannot actually view the documentary about the subject, Leaving Neverland, because it's not available on streaming or in physical form anywhere right now. What do you know?
Thank you, Zaslav.
Yeah, thank you,
Blame
somebody.
Zaslav.
I don't know who's responsible for that
It's
one,
HBO
but
Max, or HBO Max, one of it.
one of them. Who knows? But yeah, disappointing. Your number two movie is the Super Mario Galaxy movie again, 21 million. That's at 386 domestic. Number three, Project Hail Mary, still here, $13 million. That's at 305. Mr.
Yeah, across
Pitbull
the
himself.
300 mark.
Yep. Number four, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, tiptoes around with 5.6 this week. That's at 23. And number five, The Drama, 2.6. That's at 44. That's probably right for kind of a a pretty basic no special effects needed movie these days.
Hmm.
Usually lands around the 50 mark. So yeah, not surprising there. And then at way down at number eight, the other new release this week, Over Your Dead Body, only $1.4 million. So all the way down there.
Whoop
All right.
whoop. All right.
Womp womp. But we have a pretty easy this week to predict.
Well,
You have
Mother Mary, which got a wider release, actually
okay.
went up below Over Your Dead Body at number nine.
Wow, that's really sad.
Yeah.
So sorry, Anne Hathaway. But don't worry, Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway is coming to your screens this week and will do way better because, yes, your big release this week is The Devil Wears Prada 2. I'm not going to talk about it in thoughts, but fun fact, I did watch The Devil Wears Prada 1 this week.
Oh, so did I.
So I've caught up. I have caught up now. I can check that off the list. I'm
Wait, you
ready.
never saw Devil Wears
And I
Prada?
had never seen it.
Wow.
I
Are you
had never
me?
seen it. I completely missed it. I know we talked about this when you talked about it on the podcast. I said I have also not seen it. I should probably see it, and that's so. Thus, I did.
Yes.
Now we have both seen it. Um, but yeah, the sequel is likely to be your number one movie this week. So, should I even mention these other two movies? I guess I will. Some sort of adaptation of Animal Farm? Question mark.
Yep, this is the one from Angel Entertainment with Andy
Oh,
Serkis, Seth Rogen.
oh. So wait, they Christian washed Animal Farm?
I I guess so.
Oh boy, that sounds crazy. Anyway, and believe it or not, a second movie with animal in the title.
Yes, Animal Friends. This one
What is
stars
Animal Friends?
Dan Levy, Aubrey Plaza, Ryan Reynolds, and Jason Momoa.
Sounds like a very
So
different movie.
if you're going to
Mhm.
the theater and ask for the animated
Yeah,
animal one, you kind of have to be specific this weekend.
yeah. Don't just say two tickets for Animal.
You
No,
may not
but
get the one you want.
let's be real. You're not going to do that. You're going to ask for two tickets to Devil Wears Prada 2. That is your number one movie this week. No issues there. Um, but where does it land is going to be the tricky part. Unfortunately, it's my turn this week. I'm going to have to pull a number out of my ass.
Well, don't pick 36 because that's
No,
apparently way too
cursed
low.
now. Um, why don't we go with 50? Does that sound good to you?
I think uh do you think it's going to do that much lower than Michael?
Yes.
Okay.
At the same time, though, I will take the over.
Well, I'm going to take the over at 50. Do you want it at 60?
I don't think that's how this game is played, but sure. If you really don't want to do it at 50, if you're really that confident here, you have to keep in mind before Michael, we were not seeing 90.
No, we were not.
No. So like Mario does better than that, but nothing else did. Like, come on. Like 60 is a great opening weekend for Devil Wears Prada.
All right, 60. We'll put it at 60 then.
Okay, fine. I'm still taking the over then.
Okay. You
You
take
can
the over.
have that under.
Watch it land at 55.
Yeah, and I'll be pissed at you because you screwed me out of a win. All right. Anyway, let's move on
I don't know.
because
But
we're not the only
yes,
one.
Devil Wears Prada has been advertised everywhere. People
Yeah,
love Devil Wears Prada.
right. Yeah. 20 years since the first one. Anne Hathaway, contrary to what you may believe by the last film release, is a star that brings people in. Yeah, I think this will do well. All right. Let's
Yeah.
move on. We're not the only ones having a war. So are the studios when it comes to the Battlefield property. Yes, that Battlefield, as in EA's war first person shooter franchise. Battlefield
It's
is,
a
pun intended.
crossover event.
Yes, exactly. Battlefield is currently, pun intended, caught in a crossfire as five different studios have submitted bids for the Christopher McQuarrie slash Michael B. Jordan package. Wow. With Warner Brothers Discovery, Amazon, MGM Studios, Sony, Universal, and Netflix all in the fight for what is shaping up to be the biggest bidding war of the year. McQuarrie, who is responsible for Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, among other films, is set to write, direct, and produce an adaptation of the best selling video game series. While recent Oscar winner Michael B. Jordan, I don't need to tell you he won for Sinners, but I just did, is on board to produce and potentially star. And the Battlefield package comes as Paramount is readying its own feature film adaptation of rival video game franchise Call of Duty, which has, of course, big Paramount name Taylor Sheridan and Peter Berg set to write and Berg on board to direct. So, just like last year in the video game sales charts, we will have a Battlefield versus Call of Duty war coming to your local theater very soon.
And what makes these specifically stand out from all the other war epics that have graced the silver screen? Who can say?
Soap.
McTavish.
Yeah. Thank you for knowing what I was talking about. Not
Yes.
to thinking I was a crazy person talking about soap, the thing next to your sink. Like,
No, of course not. This isn't Fight Club. I mean, this is the thing that can't be named.
yeah. Yeah, no, these are both really bad ideas for movies. You know, the last time they tried to do something like this, it was Battleship and Rihanna was in it. It was really bad.
You know who directed
Um,
that and produced it?
who?
Peter Berg.
Hey, we've come
Hey!
full circle. Yeah, no, they learned no lessons. Hollywood does not understand that this does not make a good movie. Even Michael B. Jordan, I don't think, can help a Battlefield project from seeming like a bad idea. Sorry.
Also, isn't Michael B. Jordan a much bigger star to star in than starring in war epics?
You would think at this point, like, I mean, he just won the Academy Award. To be in a video game adaptation does feel like a giant step backwards. Of course,
Right,
anything
but
can happen between now and then.
at the same time, Tom Hanks was in Saving Private Ryan just
Yeah.
after winning the Oscars.
Yes, but Saving Private Ryan had an Oscar winning director behind it and also was a huge Oscar push film for the relatively recent studio of DreamWorks upon its release. Like, that was a very different story. Like, this is not Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan is a thinking man's war film. This is a video game Dorito dusted war film. Like, this is not in the same league.
Yeah, but it's Christopher McQuarrie though, who brought you Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Mission
Yeah,
Impossible The Final Reckoning,
yeah.
and Top Gun Maverick.
And what are the and despite Top Gun Maverick getting a Best Picture nomination for some reason, those are not Oscar films. Like, these are popcorn action films, and that is what
No, that was
they're
Kosinski.
making here.
That wasn't him. That was just Kosinski.
Well, then never mind.
Yes.
Anyway,
Anyways, yeah. Two war adapted video game projects
yeah,
on the horizon,
yeah,
assuming that they don't suffer the same fate as Halo and end up in development hell.
yeah. And I will see neither of these.
Also, if I'm going to place a bet on one of those five, it's going to be Sony because it's a video game movie.
They do like those, turns out. They do like
Yes.
making them. All right. That's it
And
for,
we like making podcasts, which is why we're
yes.
done.
Yeah, that's it. That's it for movies, and that's it for the Media Boat podcast this week. Thankfully, a short one this week. Not a whole lot going on besides, I guess, Tomodachi Life and playoff basketball. Not really a whole lot going on. Hopefully, that'll change next week. We'll be back next week for another episode. More thoughts, more news, more of us, as you usually say. You can find us in video form on YouTube. Search YouTube for Media Boat Podcast. You can find us in audio form on podcast services by searching Media Boat as well. You can find us on the internet. We're on Blue Sky. Search Media Boat to find our page there. Twitch.tv/MediaBoat is where you can find Mike playing some Pragmata. And then lastly, you can email us questions, comments, feedback about the show at mediaboatpodcast@gmail.com. All right. That's it for us this week. We'll be back next week for more. See y'all then.
You already said my catchphrase, so we are out.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.